Nicole's View. Say it with me, y'all. Nicole's View. That's right, because this is how she do it.
We descend from a line of warriors, fighting relentless battles for justice. When the odds are against us, we do not bend, nor do we break. We stand tall and fight hard, for we are 6-0. If you want genuine black conversation that's uncompromised, unfiltered, join 60s.net today.
Jay?
Yes?
I love 60s. I'm so excited there's a site where we could finally talk about Black issues.
When's the last time you posted?
Well, the way my phone is set up.
You're clearly not that excited about 60s. Have a great day.
All right, y'all. All right. I am here. Welcome to Nicole's View Live. I will wait for some of y'all to come in. So come on in. Shout out to the chat room and everyone for joining me today on this Sunday afternoon. I hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Hope you can hear me. Looks like my mic is unmuted and all that good stuff. But I've been wanting to have my guests on today. I've been watching. I've been paying attention. I've been seeing what he's been doing out here in the streets, at least of South Carolina. I'm in Texas, so I can't necessarily speak for South Carolina, but I know he can. If you have not heard about this man, he's an up-and-coming political, I just want to say, runner. He wants to take over Mr. Jim Clyburn's spot. I'm really excited to see if we can get him there. I think we can. I love what he is representing, what he's bringing to the table, what we've been demanding and asking at the grassroots level. So please, people, put your hands together for Mr. Marcel Dixon. Marcel, how are you? It's been a minute.
I'm good, Nicole. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to have you on with me today.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely. I've seen you in these Twitter streets, as they say, banging the drum. And I'm going to show your ad. I really liked it. And it just showed how, and the reason why you wanted to run. And I know one of the biggest platforms that you're running on is Reparations for freedmen, foundational Black Americans, and those who can show their proof lineage to this nation and what we went through, all the hell from yesteryear to now, and why you are running. I'm so happy for you and excited. So let me show this clip. I love it. And then I'll let you take the floor.
Okay.
All right, let's see. It's been a minute, y'all. Bear with me. The StreamYard, I can't wait till they make this more easy to sync. Just with the press a button, but it's kind of like, let's see, share screen. Let's see. Here we go. Share audio. See if I can pull it up. Make my mic.
What you are looking at is a monument to Wade Hampton. Wade Hampton was one of the largest enslavers in the state of South Carolina, which was one of the largest slave-holding states. And yet, here on the Capitol grounds, there is a monument to him. If South Carolina wants to recognize and remember this period of history, then it is incumbent upon South Carolina and the United States as a whole to repair the damage that has come from this period in history. At the end of the Civil War, Black Americans who are descendants of American slaves, legislatively called freemen, were supposed to receive their 40 acres in a meal, and that never happened. Instead, they saw their black Wall Streets burnt to the ground. They experienced Jim Crow, they experienced redlining, which robbed them of billions in dollars of wealth. In order for America to heal, Black America has to be repaired. I am running to repair Black America because until we all stand, we all have fallen. Nicole, I can't hear you.
Mike, sorry.
Okay.
So what made you want to run? What was that fire? What did it for you? Did something just tick you off? What was it?
Definitely, my mother has always educated my siblings and I about our history as Black Americans. I remember she bought this book called 10,000 Facts You Should Know About the American Negro. I'm not sure if anyone's ever seen the book before. It's like a black book. It's very thick. So my mother always made us very aware of our history, our contributions to this nation, and how this nation is indefinitely indebted to us. But the thing that finally made me want to run is I found out that my district has been represented by the same man, Congressman James Clyburn, for over 30 years. And yet, our district is the sixth poorest district in the United States of America out of 435 districts total. 30 years. I'm a teacher. I teach in this county, Jasper County, South Carolina, on the coast, where I have lived my entire life. I've taught here my entire life. I get kids that come to me usually 2 grade levels or more behind where they should be. I have 5th graders that come to me reading on a 1st or 2nd grade level. I only usually get 6 months to 8 months, give or take some, to get them not to the grade level where they should have been when they came to me, and then above grade level. Imagine if you gave me 30 years to get them to where they needed to be, and 30 years later, they are not there. Would you consider me to be a good teacher then? Of course not. So after 30 years, I said the people in my district deserve better.
Absolutely. Especially, with education. It's so important. It's so important. When I saw that clip that y'all were the 6th, I'm like, well, who's the first?
Exactly. Guess what? That was as of the year 2020. We were the 6th. We may very well now be 2nd or 3rd because we've been progressively climbing the ladder, and not to number 1 in a good way, but to number 1 as far as being the most impoverished district. And I want to say this: my district is a majority Black district, and the majority of the Black people here are Gullah Geechee, descendants of the rice-growing Africans from different parts of the African nation, modern-day Angola, Cameroon, Democratic Republic of Congo, southern Nigeria, Senegal, Gambia, and Mali, are primarily. And we were the people who were the first source of wealth for the United States of America. So it's a bitter, disgusting irony that we are now some of the most impoverished people that have had experienced some of the highest levels of land theft. Millions of coastal front property we have had stolen from us. And my current Congressman, James Clyburn, has not done one thing legislatively to address that matter. If he does not go, then we are going to go to the point of no return, and we are heading there already. And if we have had the worst levels of violence launched against us as second-class citizens, from babies being ripped out of our beautiful Black woman's stomach to our Black Wall Streets that we built with nothing, being barely literate, not having a penny in our pocket since we didn't see a cent of the wealth that we built for this nation. Over 50 of them were burnt to the ground or flooded. If that's the type of treatment we got as second-class citizens, I ask us the question, do we really want to know what life in this country is going to be like as third-class citizens? I sure as hell don't. And that's why I'm running, to make sure we don't ever know what that is like.
Absolutely. Bravo. I definitely hear that. Now, those of us out here on the grassroots, some of us, we're kind of like, we're jaded because we don't know, okay, who is this person? Who are you? Are you really for us? Are you really for the streets? What do you say to the people who may feel that you may be a troll or a plant? I mean, have you gotten that? What do you feel?
Yeah, I get that all the time. Now,
Right.
there's two types of ways that comes towards me. People have a right to be suspicious. I want us as Black Americans, and I call us freedmen. That is our legislative name. Black Americans who are descendants of American slaves, we are legislatively called freemen because of the Freedmen's Bureau Act that was written to deal with people who were formerly enslaved. We are their children, if you are of that lineage. We have a right to be suspicious. I want us to be suspicious. Our problem has always been we are too damn welcoming to everyone. And that allows people to turn against us, to infiltrate us, or to be cools in our mess. So be suspicious of me and vet me. We have been betrayed by every leader that we have had, and I put leader in quotation marks, that we have had in the history of this nation. Okay? So I understand us being suspicious. That I understand, and that I have to, like I said, vet me. Now, then you have the people who just want to be trolls and waste my time.
Right.
If I tell people, the best indicator of what a person is going to do when they get somewhere is what they've already done. If I was going to sell out, I would have been selling out to get to Congress because that would make my life easier. Trust me, I did not make my campaign easier by running on a platform that is first and unapologetically first Black American, not Black, but Black American freedmen. And I'm running on a platform of reparations. So we already know, being in the country in which we are in, that my platform is getting a lot of pushback. If I was running on LGBTQ, people would be for me big time. If I was running on making these illegal citizens, people will be for me big time. Because I am running on putting us first, and I'm doing so unapologetically. I'm not kissing behind. I'm not trying to be like. I'm getting a lot of pushback. If I was going to sell out, I would have done it now. A person who sells out to get to where they want to go is a person who's going to sell out once they get to where they want it to get. Okay? I have not done that. I've stood my ground, and my paperwork backs me up. So the second group of people who come to me, they want me to assuage their fears every single second. I'm not doing that. And that goes for anyone out there. I am not going to keep defending, my genuineness every 2 seconds. I want y'all to vet me. I deserve to be vetted. But if people think I'm going to be responding every 2 seconds about why you should trust me, that's just not going to happen because I have better things to do, like getting our people reparations. If we were going to be that way, we should have been that way a long time ago. Because if we were this way a long time ago, Clyburn would not be sitting up in office for 30 years, who's a millionaire now, while his district, my district, is even poorer than it was when he took office in 1992.
And I saw, shout out to Jason Reed, the flyer that he's having his annual fish fry.
I saw that.
I just see that. And on one hand, I know he's a politician. He has to have these events. I'm going to expect you to have some sort of events like this. But it just makes me cringe for whatever reason, because we know he seems very, well, it's not even that he doesn't care. This man has been in office so long that he doesn't even see how this comes. But this is for the old folks. This is for those, that dying breed that still believes in these folks, and they have nothing to show for it, tangible. And it's for us, the younger folks coming up, we're seeing this and we're like, no. This is why we're looking and gravitating to folks like you. And I'm sure mainstream media is not reaching out to you. Are you getting any hitbacks from mainstream media?
The wall of silence is starting to break. Yes, it's starting
Okay.
to break, but no, by and large, a lot of the people who are usually very vocal in mainstream media in my area, which South Carolina is a state that doesn't usually get a lot of attention. The only time the Democrats pay attention is during the primaries for the Democratic presidential primary. And other than that, South Carolina is usually written off. So we don't have a large media infrastructure here to begin with. But the media entities we do have here, the state newspaper, Post and Courier, Buff, the Beaufort Gazette, the Island Packet, WSAV News, Savannah, because yes, my region of the southern portion of the state is the Savannah, Georgia market. WTOC News, no, they're not giving me any attention. The wall of silence is starting to break. My name is getting mentioned here a little. My name's getting mentioned there a little. So that wall of silence is starting to break. But by and large, no, not getting any attention from the mainstream media. But you know what? I don't need their attention. I'm getting big love from the new black media, and that is what matters the most. And Nicole, let me just say real quick, because I'm in Clyburn's district, on my side, there's a bit of a delay. And because I'm here, I know this so often, my camera might go off and on or I might freeze, but just know I did not just leave you unexpected.
Right.
I didn't walk off set.
All right. No, you're good. You're good. I noticed like it's kind of like a little hazy with the camera and whatnot, but no worries. I totally understand. There were some other things that I wanted to ask when it comes to, because this platform, running on a reparations platform and wanting to see so much done for our people in different sectors. I mean, like we just spoke about education, finances, anything, pretty much anything in this world you can think of. How would you present this to the public at large, your platform for Black people? Because I love your slogan, fixing Black America for America. How does that go?
Repair Black America to fix America. Or sometimes I say, repair Black America to make America great. Ain't no again there, but to make America great.
Right.
See, what this country's been trying to do, which is why we keep having all these issues we've been having. Yes, we as Black Americans, freemen, we get the worst of it. But what this country tries to do all the time, they try to fix America without fixing Black America. Or they try to say America is great while doing all they can to show Black Americans that the greatness of America is not ours to have. Which anything that's great about this country is come from us. And that's why it never works out. I am letting people know, white, Black, whomever, you will never have a great America until this country repairs Black America. Like Whoopi Goldberg said in that movie, The Color Purple, which I've never seen, until you do right by me, everything you do is not going to work out, or I don't know how it goes. That's how it is with America. Until you do right by Black America, everything you try is going to fail and crash and burn.
That's true. That's true. It starts at the roots, the foundation, as Tariq calls us,
and we are definitely the foundation.
Right. If the foundation is not sturdy and strong, it can only fall. So I definitely hear that.
And to your question, it's almost like Clyburn wants me to win. It's like he get me out of here. Or the Democrats want me to win because they keep making my campaign easier and easier. The only thing I lack, and this is why I need donations, marcelforcongress.com/donation. The only thing where I struggle with is getting the word out about me. I have to work 60 hours a week. Okay. I'm not Clyburn. I'm not playing golf all day. I'm working. And yet I still have a life. My family members, like a lot of Black family members, are still people who struggle. Some live in poverty. I have to help them out. And of course, I still have my personal challenges, even though by and large, I spend most of my time with my campaign. The only thing is with me, the main challenge is getting my voice out to a larger set. That's why donations are so important. But let me tell you, all I have to say to our people nowadays, the Democrats have given me another talking point, which is true, is Ukrainians.
Oh,
this country has stolen 14 to 15 million of the 16 to 19 million acres that our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents saved for us to inherit. That's how much land they stole for us. And yet, they haven't done anything about it. We haven't seen a penny. And that's just on the land aspect. Yet, this is the same country that expects us to be all up in arms about Russians invading Ukrainian territory. So much so that in less than a month, they've sent trillions of dollars to white Ukrainians in Europe. Ukraine is not even a part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, known as NATO, where if you attack one, it's like a family. You attack all of us. Ukraine is not a part of that. They had a chance to join it, and they said no. Yet we've sent trillions to them in the form of aid, in the form of military equipment. We are now going to bring over 100,000 Ukrainians and give them housing, give them food, give them education, give them transportation, give them jobs, give them sustenance. Yet, Black Americans who built the nation, defended this nation, paid over trillions of our taxes in this nation, and never saw a penny from it, are 15 to 20% of the population, conservatively, because we're always undercounted, and yet we're over 55% of the homeless people in this nation. And yet, they are not doing a damn thing about that. Right. All I have to do is say that to my people here, and they automatically get on board. So much so that even the older people say, do you have more of those flyers? Give it to me. So my message is resonating with people. My policies are speaking to the people. And when I say people, I'm talking about first and foremost our people, Black Americans, freemen. The only thing where it's a struggle for me is getting the money to keep playing the commercials, to keep doing the radio advertisement, to keep getting meet and greets, okay? To keep getting the gas in my car, the hotels to travel to the different events. But everything else on point. And when I get to speak to people, it never fails. I get a resounding warm welcome.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Have you seen any, I know polls are kind of subjective, but have you seen any internal polls where you see yourself rising in the polls? How are you doing in South Carolina?
So here's the bad thing in the country. Presidential elections get all the attention. Like most Americans don't vote. Over half don't. But when Americans do vote, it's going to usually be during the presidential election.
Right.
Okay? Then the U.S. Senate gets a lot of attention. Local races in the U.S. House, people don't even register with them. So there's very little polling and very little coverage. However, I have seen polls that maybe, were not meant for me to see. And the last one I saw that was about 2 months ago now showed me getting as much as 40 to 45% of the vote. And the good news is that was before I started doing this major push on the ground that I'm doing now. So that's good news. But here's the thing, Nicole. I may not be the smartest man in the world, but I'm not the dumbest man in the world either, okay? That poll could have been leaked for me to see on purpose, to give me a false sense of security, to make me think I'm doing so well, I don't need to be out there working. So I'm going to ignore whatever poll. The most important poll is the poll on June 14th, 2022. If anyone is listening and you're in South Carolina, District 6, which is Allendale, the counties of Allendale, Bamberg, Colleton, Dorchester, Orangeburg, Sumter, Clarendon, Richland, Charleston, and Jasper. If you are in those counties, June 14th, 2022, I need you at the polls and I need you to vote for me. Okay? If you know anyone in South Carolina, you don't have to worry about which county they're in. South Carolina's a small state. I need you to reach out to those people and let them know about me. That's the only poll that matters. It could be a poll say I'm going to get 99% of the vote and no one ever heard of Clyburn and he could still win. Likewise, Clyburn could have polls showing that he's guaranteed to win and I make an upset. The only thing that's guaranteed is we are guaranteed to lose if we don't get up and try.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Shout out to the chat room. Are there any folks in here from South Carolina? Because I was going to also let the audience participate and ask you questions and whatnot. And I'll put them up on the screen. But yeah, this is really good to see because, if we get a few of you just out here in America all over, this is how we make change. So
exactly.
It's exciting
that
for
mass
me.
groundswell of movement. Hey, Gary. I see Gary. Says he's from South Carolina.
Okay, let me see. Gary. Let's see. Gary. Oh, there you are. Okay. Gary, let us know if you have any questions for our candidate here. I'm so excited for him. And when I saw your thing last night, like we spoke about earlier, it just blows my mind that some of these districts are suffering this bad. It's just, and when it's our people, and then we're like, what are you doing for us? Tangible. Oh, we'll give you a fish fry. What are you doing for us? I can get my own fish fry. Like stuff like that. It irritates my spirit. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I stopped being a Democrat. I hung that up about 8 years ago. I said, I'm done with it. I've gone green. But someone like you, I believe in your message and what you're saying. I could vote for someone like you.
Let me tell you.
But you know,
I haven't gone red.
I
haven't gone blue.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gone green.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone and stayed black.
Black.
So
yes.
that's the only color I care about these people. Red, blue, green, orange, purple, pink, violet. Black is the only thing I'm concerned about. South Carolina can turn red, turn purple, turn blue. I'm interested in keeping South Carolina USA black. So that's why I tell people, forget whatever party affiliation. I'm running as a Democrat because in modern day politics, they will not exist without us. And since we've been voting for them, we've fallen further to the bottom. They owe our people, and I'll be damned if they get away to get in office and get all this power and we get nothing from it. So I'm going to make sure they pay us. But the color I'm most concerned about is black, and we got to be more concerned about the policies. And yes, I want to speak what you just said. I blame us for that, Nicole. I blame us for the fact that they can do nothing for us, and yet he could come up with a fish fry, and that's all it takes to get us going to the polls, a fish dinner. And, you know, I don't know what's in this fish. I don't ever see no red rice. I don't see no collard greens. I don't see no okra and garlic. All I be seeing is some slice of white bread and fish. Okay, so if you're going to do a fish fry, you got to do it right. South Carolina is the home of red rice. We are the home of hush puppies. Okay, hush puppies started here. Red rice here. So especially on the coast. So I don't know what's in those fish, but see, that's our fault as Black Americans. We're the only group that would not be insulted by that. If I said I want to get the Hispanic vote, you know, most of them want to be white. So white Hispanics, because they don't, you see the way they treat Afro-Latinos is terrible. But if I say I want to get the Hispanic vote and I come up with a bunch of tacos and empanadas, they would be offended by that.
Right.
Rightfully so. If I say I want to get the Asian vote and I showed up with chopsticks and paper cranes and egg rolls, they will be offended by that. If I say I want to get the Native American vote and I show up in a totem pole, they will be offended by that. It's only okay to do these symbolic, offensive stuff when it's Black Americans. Oh, listen to me. I'm listening to Tupac. Oh, look at me. I'm doing the Cupid Shuffle. Oh, look at me. I like hot sauce on my collard greens. We are the only group that accepts that type of treatment. That is our fault for not demanding more. Every other group says, get that mess in my goddamn face. Where are the policies for my family? Where are the policies for me? We are the only group that gets apologetic and talks about other people. And I'm tired of us too now.
Yes.
And I call us out on that as well.
Yes, absolutely. That is so true, because who are going to these fish fries? Who are supporting this? It's very offensive. It's
extremely offensive.
When you really think about it. Like, is this all you think of me? Is some hush puppies, some biscuits?
You're spotted like what's that Obama guy? All he used to do was talk about his old MP3 player list and all his hip hop music. That was all we got from him. White Americans who lost their wealth during the recession, they not only reclaimed their wealth during the recession, and the data shows this, white Americans not only got their wealth back, they were able to quadruple upon the wealth they previously had. Black Americans who are already to the bottom, we never recovered from the Great Recession. Oh, we got an MP3 playlist with rap music on it. We got Stevie Wonder singing at the White House. That's all we got.
That's so true. What do you say, like on the normal issues? Like someone asked about how do you feel about Medicare for all? How are you on those sort of issues?
I support Medicare. Okay, I have you. I mean, here's my thing. Me being a reparationist doesn't exclude the fact that this country should be doing more, period. Like for its average citizen of any color. Yeah, we should. Medicare for all should exist, okay? Tuition, college, university should be tuition free, okay? there should not be any homeless people in a nation that spends over $1 trillion annually on the military budget, but when you take in the total military expenditures, spends trillions of dollars on just things like let's test out a new jet. And that's not always even included in the budget. So if we can do that, every American should be able to have a home. I have on my platform something that about which a lot of people do not think. I have on there transportation, which is another human right.
Yes.
I don't know why a lot of us think that we forget about our family here in the rural deep South, like me. I don't know why we do that, and that offends me. A lot of Black people, millions of Black Americans, freemen, still live in the rural deep South, small town America, and they don't. And Black Americans, here's something else we probably didn't know. Black Americans are the most likely to not have a vehicle. We are the group most likely than any other group. An illegal immigrant is more likely to have a vehicle when they're not even supposed to be able to get a license. An illegal immigrant is more likely to have a vehicle than a Black American. And yet it was our inventions that helped pave the way for transportation. The 3-signal traffic light, the automatic lubrication system that was done for trains, the wireless communication on trains. We helped pioneer transportation in this country and globally, and we're the group that often suffers the most from a lack of transportation. Now, in a big city, that's bad, but you can probably get a bus, maybe get an Uber. In areas like mine, a lot of times Ubers don't want to even come out to areas where I live. We have food deserts here. There are towns in my area like Pineland, South Carolina, Yamasee, South Carolina. You can go 10 miles and not even find a gas station, okay? Let alone a grocery store. You can go 20 miles and not have a hospital or even a clinic. So how are you supposed to get to school for a parent-teacher conference? How are you supposed to get to work? How are you supposed to get to a doctor's visit? How are you supposed to take your kids to a museum and give them those educational opportunities that upper-class families don't even think about for 1 second? So these are things that America should be doing overall. But just because I realize we should have, Medicare for all and transportation for all, what I'm not going to let people do is say those things will be just as good as reparations. Hell to the no. Because if that was the case, let's look at all the other things to which Black Americans have access, in which we're still to the bottom. All Black Americans can go to public schools. And yet, who is more likely to be in schools with the least resources? We are. All of us can go to a public hospital and get health care. Who's most likely not to have insurance? We are. Who's more likely to get their limbs chopped off when it's not necessary? We are. Who's more likely to be a victim of malpractice? We are. Who's more likely to die from preventable causes even when we seek out medical attention? We are. So this attitude that if you just give it everything to everyone, Black Americans will naturally benefit, that has never been true. Even with things that were supposed to have been for us, like affirmative action. White women who were being the oppressors, they were out there spitting on us and lynching people and being about the lynch mobs. White women are the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action. That was originally done for us. So even when these universal policies are supposed to benefit everyone, and the idea is the person on the bottom will benefit the most, that has never been true, and people need to stop saying it.
Yes, absolutely. You said a mouthful there, but it's very true. I mean, there's so much work to be done all over this country. And just when you feel like maybe we're making a little progress, it just keeps going backwards. What are your thoughts? Because now, since, COVID has died down, now we're back to seeing these shootings with police being shot in the head, although we know this is nothing new, but it's like here it is again. There was a Black woman in California was shot at 20, 30 times. I just, to me, this is one of the biggest things that really just makes me crazy. And I can't I used to do commentaries. I can't even do them anymore. I can't do them anymore, Marcel.
I'm in South Carolina, which has the second or third, is up there in the top 5 level of gun violence overall. And I'm in a small rural town, and we still have very high levels of gun violence. My uncle was murdered in his driveway, taking his son out his back seat. My brother was shot when I was in middle school. Okay, I've had people shoot at my home, not anything dealing with me because of interpersonal conflict with a person in my family. I have lived gun violence my entire life. Okay, and that's not even getting to my battles with depression, which when before I was seeking help with it, had a gun in my own mouth. So it is a lot of, first of all, I get really mad with us when we want to say that violence, if we're just focusing on the Black community, but I think you're focusing on it in the America period, that violence somehow correlates with rap music, when the truth of the matter is violence exploded in the 1970s and went off the charts in the 1980s, really went bad in the 1990s. But since the advent of gangster rap music, violence in American society has drastically dropped. And the Black community is drastically dropped. It's actually increased in the white community. That's something that's not talked about a lot. However, that's not any source of comfort when you are a victim of violence, someone you love has been. We have to address the causes of violence. And the causes of violence is very complex, but violence usually correlates with one or two things. One is poverty.
Yes.
The other thing in America is anti-Blackness. We've seen the worst riot in American history was because of anti-Blackness, okay? The most of the lynchings and unjustified murders that was done to us. So when people want to talk about black violence in the Black community, shut the hell up. A lot of times you're lying. You need to talk about violence that have been inflicted on the Black community. We have to address things like mental illness. That's why Medicare for all has to be done. So people have access not just to mental health issues, physical health issues, but mental health issues as well. We have to have quality child supervision that is free of charge. Because when parents have to work, now 1 and 2 jobs, which should not be the case, their children need to be well supervised. Kids that are unsupervised well will get into issues. When I was growing up, thank goodness, when my mother had to work, I had my grandmother and my great-grandmother. Okay, and then if they went around, our great-grand-aunts were all next door to watch my siblings, my cousins, and I. So it was no acting up going on around there. But a lot of times, we do not have that. We need to have a livable wage. Hell with a minimum wage. We need a livable wage, which in my opinion should be no less than $25. Because all research in the matter finds out to get an average 2-bedroom apartment, a single person even needs around a $25 wage. We need to have more guidance counselors and psychologists in schools than we do police officers. No, I'm not going to sit here and say we don't need police officers. Yes, the hell we do. Anyone who's been a teacher like I have can tell you this is not the days of bring the teacher an apple. These are days where you got even 4th graders who are chasing other 4th graders down the hall with box cutters. So yes, the hell we do need police officers. And if anyone is like that said that, sign up to be a teacher in a very challenging school and you'll change your mind real quick. But we need more counselors and psychologists than we need police officers. We need social services, not to come and take Black children from Black families and put them in foster care where they are abused, or put them in a white family where they're abused psychologically and physically. No, we need support services for Black families to help them put food on the table, to help them with issues they may be going through. That's what's lacking. This country does a good job of punishing people, even punishing people when they have not committed a crime, such as Black Americans. We are, Black men, 62% of the people who are wrongly arrested and wrongly convicted are Black men.
Yes.
Black men. So that means when you see a Black man be convicted of a crime and arrested, you can safely assume there's a chance that Black man might be innocent, because the DNA evidence, every day you're seeing a Black man freed from prison for a crime he lost years of his life from that he didn't do. It's 70% total, because Black women too, this doesn't get talked about a lot, Black women too are often wrongly arrested and convicted of crime, have their children unjustifiably taken from them. Where for a white family, they will get all the resources poured out the wazoo. So we have to address the causes of violent crime. And Nicole, I keep seeing someone say something in the chat that's completely not true, that reparations, to qualify reparations, it goes to a person who's been here since 1965. That is not true. It has to be a person, and I've said this, I don't know how many more times I can say this, trillions of times probably. It has to be a person who is a descendant of a person who was enslaved by the American government, or is a free person of color, which was a black person who was free in the United States of America. So, no, the thing with 1965, I was saying from 1776 to 1965, that is when this country, government sanctioned, oppressed, and terrorized Black Americans, and it was wrong. But to qualify for reparations, you have to be descendant of a person who was enslaved by the American government. I mean, that's always been my thing. So I'm not sure where they got that from.
Okay. Yes. And all of that I can definitely get with. But Noam King made a good point. But what should the punishment be for police? You know, punishment for police and a protection bill like the Asians got. Do you believe in that?
Some people have said something about, qualified immunity. Excuse me, Nicole. I don't know how it's looking on your end, but it's glitching on mine.
Okay, that's fine.
Some people have said something about qualified immunity. And I have always said to people, I support repealing qualified immunity. I do. But I've also always said that is the floor and not the ceiling. Qualified immunity just means if a police officer violates your rights, you have the right to sue them personally. To me, okay, I'm tired of us lowballing ourselves. Me being able to sue you, that's nothing to me. I should be able to do more than sue you. I want you in prison. So one thing I am pushing for on my platform, this is on my website, like all these things I've mentioned, is that we need to change the language of the constitutional limits of police force. It is actually unconstitutional for police officers to violate someone's life, pursuit of happiness, liberty, freedom, whatever. It is actually unconstitutional for police officers to violate that. But the Constitution says knowingly. That's how it translates into law. They cannot knowingly do that. That needs to be changed to recklessly, because we all know, I'm not a lawyer, but everyone knows, it's very hard to prove intent. It's hard to prove that you intended to harm me. A lot of police officers the grand jury doesn't even bring bring their case to a trial because of that right there. Or we can't prove they knowingly did it, so there is no case. We need to change knowingly to the word recklessly, because recklessly says you should have known better. Recklessly says that even if we don't know if you meant to hurt this person, you should have known better. When I get a driver's license and I cause an accident, most people who get into car accidents, they don't mean to usually cause an accident, but they can still get charged with reckless driving because you should have known better based on the fact that you are a holder of a driver's license. Likewise, when you are a police officer and you have a gun and badge and you are supposed to be entrusted to uphold the law and you're supposed to be the people that keep us safe, you should have known better than to do what you did. So I am pushing for changes to that language. So yes, repeal qualified immunity. But my people, can we stop lowballing ourselves? Can we demand more justice for our people than just suing someone? Put them in prison and keep them there.
Yes, absolutely. You're right. You're right. I totally agree, because that just gives them an easy way out.
Exactly. And not just
that's
that,
all it does.
There needs to be a database that's public and national. If I'm a teacher and my certificate could be revoked, to be suspended, and it'll be public. You can look at my certificate publicly. There should be a national database of all infractions that police officers have committed for everyone to see. You're supposed to serve the public. You should be held accountable by the public. It's very funny. I back the blue type people, they are the first people to tell you, you're not going to take my gun from me, or The same people who say that this election was stolen. I don't care what they think about that. I don't care about this election. This segregationist we have, Joe Biden, he's terrible. So if there was a way to remove him, hey, I might be for it. I can care less about that. My point is, every other group, the same group that says, don't tread on me, they then tell Black Americans, just obey the police officers. So it's okay for y'all to say, don't tread on us. But Black Americans, we're supposed to just sit there and get walked all over? Now, that ain't happening. So I also believe, and this is something which I'm exploring, that there should be legislation where a citizen has the right to defend themselves against a police officer who is clearly abusing their authority. We have to educate people as to what rights they have when engaging with the police. And if that police officer is endangering their life and they know, and the person who's like endangering knows that's not, you don't have to sit there and be a target practice, target practice. And any police officer who's one of the good ones, they will support that too.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's fair. And if anyone were to fight against it, then I question you. Then what are you doing? What are you up to? And I think many people have been talking about a database.
If you are one of the good police officers, which by the way, I don't like that saying. If you are an entity that's supposed to keep us all safe, no, it's not enough for 98% of you to be good. I really do need all of you to be obeying the law. And if you know someone that's not, you need to be calling them out. Because here's the thing. If you poison my drink, even if you put it on this side of the cup, the entire drink is poisoned, okay? And if I drink it, it's going to poison me no matter what. Likewise, our society, the police officers help keep our society orderly if it works the way it's intended. The point is, it's never worked that way. When you got the people breaking the law who are supposed to uphold the law, that is a nation that can easily be on the brink of collapsing. The only reason people don't see it that way is because Black Americans are the main people who are victimized and victims of police brutality. And to my Black Americans, we aren't going to just sit there and be target practice, okay? We're not. None of us, there is no constitution, nothing in the Constitution says we need to sit there and allow our constitutional rights to be deprived. No, not at all. But if there's a good police officer out there, you should be wanting to support accountability. I look at teachers who don't feel that any performance of the child should reflect on them. They say, oh, well, I don't got nothing to do with how my kids perform. Oh, yes, you do. So in that same light, any police officer out there who feels that we should not be held accountable, then you don't need to be a police officer. It's very scary for you to want to have the right to shoot someone if need be, but you don't want to be held accountable for doing it. That's a person who doesn't need a badge and doesn't need a gun.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. I'm going to take a few more of your questions, and then I'm going to end it on a little special note. Let's see, because we had one question up here. Because I know, like, if I get off here, I want to ask him a question. Well, I don't know if you had seen this earlier by 24/7 Cowboy. He says he lives in Georgia now, but because of the job market in South Carolina's low country sucks. Is D6 on Interstate 95? If so, the Honda, BMW, Volvo, Boeing, and Peterbilt plants have no unions and low wages. What will you do better for low country jobs?
Well, here's my thing here. When it comes to job, I'm going to be very quick because I'm a reparations is my centerpiece. And I'm not going to be able to take it from there. I already said mandatory livable wage of at least $25. That's the minimum. Okay. Another problem is the infrastructure. South Carolina, and y'all can look this up. South Carolina's infrastructure was rated a D, which means poor. South Carolina has the worst roads in the United States of America. Every single year, when the assessment of America's infrastructure comes out, South Carolina's roads are always rated the worst. Without good infrastructure, you're not going to attract large corporations. And it's not just our roads, it's also our ports. That's inland ports, that's seaports. It's our water and sewage. I plan to do a massive investment to upgrade our roads, upgrade our water and sewage, and expand our ports. Now, that being said, What am I going to do for jobs? I'm going to do for jobs what we as Black Americans have always done. We're going to create our damn own. That's why I'm pushing for reparations. Think about it. We've had over 50 Black Wall Streets burnt to the ground. Imagine if just one of them, let's take the most famous Black Wall Street, which is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Imagine if Tulsa, Oklahoma was allowed to flourish and not be burnt down by the anti-Black white mob. New York City would have been nothing compared to Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was sometimes called I think the Harlem of the Midwest or something like that. Okay, we had Overton in Miami that was called the Harlem of the South. South Carolina had a Black Wall Street. Imagine if those Black Wall Streets were allowed to grow. We would have had 1,000 Black metropolises all throughout this entire country. We have always built our own communities, our own industry. I am fighting to get us reparations so we can continue to do that. Like I said, this lie that a rising tide lifts all boats is a lie. When America tide rises, they throw Black Americans out the boat and feed us to the sharks. Even we are the ones that built the boat. However, when Black America tide rises, all boats are lifted. That's not necessarily fair, but that is the truth. So I'm trying to give us reparations so we can build our own jobs and not have to go and work for people who a lot of times we then later on find out hate us.
Yes, absolutely. Here's another one from Robbie Lott. I live in North Carolina and I love both North and South Carolina ever since I moved here 14 years ago. What can I do to assist and support you, brother?
Well, Robbie, one thing we're doing, well, first is donations. Without donations, y'all, you might as well go ahead and put up congratulations, James Clyburn, on your re-election. Votes is what wins an election. So June 14th, 2022 is important. But I need those donations. So, Robbie, if you can donate anything between y'all, look, $5 the minimum, $2,900 the maximum. Anything you can give. And if you can help find other people that will be willing to donate to my campaign, that will be great. If you can let people in South Carolina know about my campaign, that will be great. I'm trying to do a major voter registration push before May 14th. If anybody wants to help, please email me at repairblackamerica@Marcel for Congress. And I can help you get here on the ground to help register people to vote before the deadline, which is May 14th. If there's anyone who has a show on which you feel I should appear, because it will help me, please contact them for me, because there's so many people and it's just one me. That will help as well.
Absolutely. Let's see. What else do we have here?
The link for the donation.
I'm sorry. The link. What is the link? I'll type it in here.
MarcelForCongress.com/donate.
There we go. Let me copy it. Thank you so much. Hopefully it works okay, because sometimes it's like they're funky with the links. Let's see. Okay, it should come up. I'm going to see if I can.
MarcelForCongress.com/donate. I see it.
You see it? Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Y'all, this is great. As this is from Gary Johnson, as far as reparation, what will be your plans to stop $5 FBA or others from claiming reparation from freedmen?
I'm always looking to tighten up the criteria. Right now, at a minimum, you have to be the descendant of a person who was enslaved by the United States of America, or you are a descendant of a free person of color, which was a black person, by the way, not this people of color crap they try to do now, because most of them intermarried with people who were formerly enslaved, because the majority of the black population was enslaved in the United States of America. And you have to have consecutively have identified yourself as black, whichever term was used at the time, whether it was colored, Negro, African American, Black American, freeman, whatever was used at the time, for consecutively on all documentation for at least 10 years or more prior to the start of reparations legislation. So you're not just going to pop up and start in September or, April 2022, start calling yourself black and say, here you go. Because I already started my reparations legislation. I started my campaign. So that's the minimum. Anything else, we're looking into that. Because whenever you have any type of initiative, you're always going to have scammers that try to come and take advantage. So, of course, we're going to look for ways to deal with that.
Right. And what is one way that, folks out there who want to know, well, does my lineage go back to this? How can they go about that? What would be a good way?
Well, one, you have familysearch.org, which is free of charge, has the same documentation as the census, even though census has as ancestry.org. Ancestry has a bit more, but you have to pay for it. But familysearch.org is what I've used. I was immediately able to find several great grandparents and great grandparents. And I'm in South Carolina, the state that had some of the highest mortality rates of people who were enslaved, because the rice plantations were filled with bacteria, swamp water, snakes, malaria, and the death rate was very high. So go to familysearch.org. Of course, a part of my reparations package is going to be bringing back the Freedmen's Bureau, and the Freedmen's Bureau is going to also have resources to help with genealogy. But it's not as hard as we think it is. It is not.
Right. Okay. All right. These are some great questions y'all are asking, because, it's like I can have questions and he can have his say and get a fair amount of questions and answers. Okay. My family ties to slave plantation, to the Hope Plantation in North Carolina. Wow. Cassius Williams. Okay. I can donate on your personal site because I heard YouTube takes part of the donations.
Yep, that's marcelforcongress.com/donate.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to take one more and then I'm going to leave on a good note, because I know you have other interviews and stuff lined up, Mr. Dixon. You're hot now. You're hot. Let's see.
Hopefully the steam takes me to the poll and to Congress.
Yes, absolutely. What happens if you win? What are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to do?
Well, you mean after the primary or after I get to Congress?
Like once you get to Congress.
First thing I'm doing is writing my reparations legislation. I'm going to do everything I said I was going to do. I already put out a plan to do the most important thing on my platform, which is reparations.
Okay. All right. I love it. Let me see. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to end on this note. Your background is in education. You taught for how many years?
17 now.
17. So are you still teaching as we speak?
I still teach, yes.
Wow. That's awesome. I didn't know if you took a break from it to do this or...
Oh, every day I want to take a break from it. Trust me.
I know it's a lot. This is not for the faint of heart. I got to give you credit just on that alone. I know it's not easy. But there's something I want to kind of read because you being a Black male teacher, it is so important because, the first time I actually saw a Black male teacher was when I was in the 9th grade. My 9th grade English teacher, Mr. Bell. I will never forget it. And it's something that it's like a unicorn. Y'all are like unicorns. It's so rare. And when I see y'all, I just love it. I love it. And I had ran across this article. Shout out to Ms. Kia. She sent it to me. And I didn't even know that this existed. This was actually from Ennis Cosby. I'm going to read the first 2 paragraphs because to me, it just shows how important that Black male teachers are out there, that we see them. We don't even see a ton of us, but you are more prone to seeing Black women than you would a Black male. And this is called Teaching from the Heart by Ennis William Cosby. He says, what got me involved in the education field was my experience student teaching for a year at Dean Rusk Elementary School. 3 days a week, I was assigned to teach as an assistant, to 24 third graders. Y'all that many kids? 24?
I've had 32.
Whew, my goodness. I felt that this experience would be rewarding because a true test for a healer is to heal people who need it most. I think about you, what you're doing. After 2 weeks of working at the school, the teacher, who was female, brought to my attention that the young Black males in the class who had no fathers would do better academically. When I was in the classroom on the days, excuse me, let me read that again. Let's see, where was I? The teacher, who was female, brought to my attention that the young Black males in the class who had no fathers would do better academically when I was in the classroom than on the days I was absent. That is what convinced me that I was needed in the academic field. Is that what made you want to get into the field?
No.
No.
Honestly, I was in between jobs and I was young.
You're honest.
I was in between jobs and I was young. And I had left my job working at a hospital, which I loved. And I was looking for something about which I could be passionate. And a friend had told me, she said, why don't you go and substitute? Because, the school always needs substitutes because the teachers, it's a tough school. And I mean, I know it is because I went there. And I said, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. So I went and I taught a third grade class. It was a substitute. The teacher was out. We'll be out for 2 weeks for an operation from which she had to recuperate. And I was with the kids and I said, let me get them a math test. So the teacher didn't leave a lot of work because she wasn't expecting to be out that long. So I gave them, taught them how to do simple division because I was surprised they didn't know how to do it. Yeah. I should not have been because whatever, but I was. Right. And I taught them how to do it. And then I gave them a test that Friday. And I told them I would take it home and I would grade it. So I came back and I was going to grade it that Monday because over the week I didn't have time to do it. And the principal came and said, oh, Mr. Dixon, we're sending you somewhere else. The teacher came back early. So I just gave it to the teacher and she thanked me and I went on about my business. So 3 weeks later, I'm going to my car and I see all these little tiny third grade kids running towards me. And I was like, hey, what y'all want? What y'all want? And they're like, one girl was like, we've been looking for you for a long time. I said, okay, why? And they reached into their pocket and they pulled out these old crumpled pieces of paper. And they're like, we wanted to show you something. And they showed me their division test. The teacher had graded it for me and for them. And they made it 100. And it gives me goosebumps right now telling that story because I never forgot the way I felt. Like they held on to that paper every single day. And they were until they saw me. It's like, imagine how much I was like, it must have meant so much to them for every day to wake up and say, let me grab this paper. Imagine, kids lose things. Kids tear things up. Kids break things. They held on to that paper and were looking for me to show me the grades they made. I never forgot that experience. And when I was driving home that day, people had already been trying to get me to go to the classroom as a teacher. And I was like, no, I'm hurting one of these kids. I'm telling these parents all. But after that, I said, this is what I was meant to do. So the same way teacher found me, this mission here has found me as well.
See, it just hits you. It hits you at certain points. That wasn't why you went into it initially, but look what it did. It sucked you in and you've been doing it for all these years. And like I said, for me, I feel like it's such like, wow, to see someone that looks like you in this field.
And we
this
do
field
need
is dominated by
more,
white men.
We do need more Black teachers. I want us to go back to having our own Black schools where we had control over our children and the curriculum we taught our children. Freedmen's schools like we had. I'm in South Carolina where we had the first freedmen's schools. So we want more people in teaching. That's a part of my plan too. We need to pay teachers hell of a lot more. We need to give teachers a hell of a lot more support. And we need to let parents know that a teacher is not there to discipline your child. They're there to teach your child. Teachers are dealing with all types of outrageous behavior, from being spat on, to being cursed towards, to being fought, to kids fighting each other, to social media drama, to bullying. Teachers did not sign up for that, and they don't get paid enough for that. Right. So that's another conversation we can have for another time, though.
Yeah, the education thing is a whole nother. That's a whole nother. It's like with financial issues. It's a whole nother. It's so much to tackle.
Yes.
But I have major respect for someone like yourself who wants to take on that task and whatever. But I definitely want folks to make sure to go to your website, marcelforcongress.com, and all your information is on there. Your email, where to donate, that's all on there.
Yes, my platform, everything.
Absolutely. Is there anything you want to let the audience know before you have to run?
I'm sorry that my internet buffered a little.
Oh, okay. No. I was just saying, was there anything else you want to let the audience know before you go?
Momentum for me on the ground is really, really, really growing. It's not about me though. It's about reparations. South Carolina is the state, technically. Savannah, Georgia, but most of it happened. The land was South Carolina with reparations. The closest thing we've had to it, at least, Special Field Order 15 started. Okay, it makes sense historically for the reparations movement to resurge here. And we got Tamara Shealy over in Georgia running a reparations platform. At y'all, thousands, tens of thousands of people in my area are now mentioning the word reparations and talking about reparations. That was not happening before I ran. We don't want them to just say it once and forget about it. We're going to keep it in their mouth, whether I win or lose. And I'm going to win. But even in the world where I was not going to win, we're not going to let this be just lightning not striking twice. We're going to have them mention reparations now and forever until they actually do it. Let them never go to bed. Let them never have a moment of peace where they don't hear the reparations message. And in order for me to do my part in Congress, I need y'all. So those donations are very important. So thank y'all.
Well, thank you, Mr. Marcel.
Thank you for having me,
Dixon, for coming on today and selling what you have, your platform, and all that good stuff. I will be always following you, and wherever I can to help, I will. I'll get the message out. That's what I do. Retweet, share. Y'all do all that because that's how we can get it out. And then, of course, on the ground. Being on the ground, not just on social media, but actually on the ground, and donating so we can get the flyers out, the billboards, all that. So, and hey, even if you don't win, what are your plans? Are you going to keep at it? Keep running for office?
I'm going to keep that part a secret because let me
Okay.
tell you, Plan B, Clyburn's probably going to want me to win once he sees what I have planned for Plan B. Because trust me, Congress has helped tone me down. He probably wants me to get to Congress where I actually have to obey some type of decorum. He don't want Plan B. So I'm not going to say what Plan B is because I'm sure Plan A is going to happen. But let me just say, by the time he sees what Plan B is, he's going to wish that Plan A had happened. Him and all the coons and mammies out there. Now.
Okay. Well, I heard that. Well, y'all give a round of applause for Mr. Marcel Dixon. And we'll be out there. Got you going.
Take care.
Take it easy.
See
you later. Y'all, thank y'all so much for joining me today. I will be back on here again. I know it's been a minute since I've done some rundowns on stories and whatnot. A lot going on, but I will be back. So just check me out. Follow me on Twitter at Black Liberation 84. That's where I'm at a lot. Sometimes on Facebook, sometimes on Instagram, but Twitter is where I get a lot of traction for some reason. So anyway, all right. Thank y'all so much. Thank you for the donations and everything. And I will see y'all soon. Take it easy.